Hi, welcome to Fire in the Belly. I'm your host, Brenda O'Reilly. Today we're going to make a variation of an old family recipe, cod cakes. Of course, growing up in Newfoundland, Fridays was fish day. And every Friday we'd have some sort of fish dish. We'd either have fish and brews, saltfish, drawn butter and potatoes, or saltfish cakes. Traditionally we would use salt cod, and so I have some right here. And as I said, I've taken the salt cod out and I've added the fresh cod as the alternative. But so I wanted to put the feta back in there for a little bit of salt and to give that little salty. Newfoundlanders love salty food, so give that little bit of salty bite to the dish. Plus, it's really lovely with potato anyway, and you can dress this dish up so many ways. Today I'm using a mustard relish, but you could use a tzatziki. You could use a sour cream. You could use, beets are nice with this dish. So many things you can use with this dish because of the saltiness of the feta and the sweetness of the cod. It matches so many things. I've been cooking I think all my life. It feels like it all my life anyway. I started as a young girl working in the cafeteria with my mother. And first I started off working the front line, and I found myself navigating to the back of the kitchen. And next thing you know, I was on the fryer and on the grill. And then I started catering with that company as a young girl, knowing full well that I wanted to be a chef all of my life. It's a fantastic dish. It's so simple and easy, and it's something that you can actually make in a day ahead and sit up. So you can actually cook your potato and your cod and assemble it with your chives and your feta. Put it into your cod cakes, and anything cake-wise is best settled anyway. It's much like a burger. You want it to sit in the fridge and let it settle, and then it's best to cook it after it's been in the fridge for a while. So this is a dish that you can prepare a day ahead of time when you've got a large group coming over for supper, or like in the restaurant industry when you've got hundreds of people you're serving all the time. Being a female chef has had its challenges in the past few years, or especially early in my career. Now I find it's a lot less challenging, and there's a lot more females entering into the culinary field, so it's fabulous. While the potato is boiling and the cod is coming to a light poach, we would then chop our chives and crumble our feta, which is our two fillers for the dish. And as soon as they're cooked, we strain the potato, and then we mash that with some unsalted butter, about a half a cup of unsalted butter. Let that sit for a bit. Then we're going to take the poached cod, strain it, crumble it into, flake it into the potato, add the feta and the chives, and spoon it, fold it like you would fold a cake mixture. We don't want to mash this now. We want to fold it in so that you can see the cod and you can see the feta in this beautiful mashed potato. I think I'm really good at handling pressure in any situation, in particular the kitchen. It's all about being prepared and coming with your right attitude and your A game, and always being ahead of the game so that you never get caught off guard. And I find that if you show that yourself, that everybody around you does become that. So you sort of give out that attitude, and it's contagious. So I think I handle things very, very well in the kitchen. A lot of pressure. The kitchen is an extremely hard job. It's a lot of physical work and a lot of time demands, and in a very warm, fast-paced environment. So it's about having the right attitude in the kitchen, and I think that can become contagious. Put the fish into your potato, like so. I'm going to add the feta cheese, and the chopped chives. Great part about using feta is that it will hold up in this warm mixture, and you will see the feta and taste the feta throughout the dish as a distinct ingredient in its own. Okay, so I'm going to let this cool down now, this mixture, so that I can actually form it into some potato cakes. Okay, so you have your cod cake mixture, and now you're going to form it. I've made these for like a dinner portion, 2 of those with dinner with a nice vegetable side, asparagus or garden salad, whatever you'd like. So you form them, you lay them onto some flour. Now, like I said, you can actually take these, as I have done here, you can actually pre-do these, let them sit in the fridge. They're best in the fridge before you fry them, and you can do them a day ahead of time so that they're nice and set up and you're prepared for the day of your party. Newfoundland has so many fabulous dishes, and some of my favorites are anything to do with fish, as we call cod. Cod is such a delicate fish, and beautifully done in the cod cakes I did today, or just pan fried. It's lovely baked. We do a beautiful cod au gratin as well. Of course, traditional fish and chips is a lovely dish. But I like the wild game. Caribou is probably my favorite thing to eat here in Newfoundland. I love doing different versions of dishes with caribou. A caribou bourguignon, nice caribou ragu. So many things you can do with caribou. You can do the same things with caribou as you do with red meat. So it's one of my favorite things to do. But my first personal favorite fish is halibut. Okay, so now we have our really nice cod cakes, as you can see. Now you want to dredge these in flour before you fry them. I have extra virgin olive oil in the pan. Now, when I was growing up, my mother would have used scrunchions to fry hers, which is rendered out pork fat, very much of a staple here in Newfoundland. So I'm going to put these in the pan. Now, there's a nice variation to this dish. If you leave the cod out, you'd actually have a vegetarian selection with just the feta potato and the chives. Very lovely too. So you want to make sure as you're treating these that you keep them in shape, and you only turn them once. And once you turn them, they're golden brown. The other side is then golden brown. If you're entertaining for a crowd, besides having these pre-made the day before, you can actually now pre-cook these and then lay them on a cookie sheet. I use parchment paper or parchment paper lined cookie sheet, and then let them set down, and you can just reheat them in your oven or hold them at a slow oven of about 225 degrees until you're ready to have your appetizer or your main course. So it's a very easy, versatile dish, and easy to execute for your guests that you have over for dinner, and they'll just think that you slaved over this for hours and hours. From a business perspective, some of my greatest achievements have been some of the restaurants that I've opened. One of my favorite restaurants I ever had was called the Stone House, and in its day, back in the 90s, it was Weird Eat in Canada. En Route magazine had it written up several years running. I was the chef there. I'm very proud of it. But O'Reilly's, because it's my namesake, I think is one of my proudest things I've ever accomplished. Of course, now I own YellowBelly Brewery Public House, and it's a new business, but it's a microbrewery and a gastropub restaurant, and I love that. But I think my biggest accomplishment in this industry was last year when I was voted chairman of the Canadian Restaurant and Food Service Association, and that was by my peers, so that was a very, very proud moment for me. So you can make these fish cakes any size you'd like to make them. I made them for an entree size, but you can make them a little smaller and have them as an appetizer size as well. So just put our 2 cod cakes on the dish. I'm going to add some greens. Some carrot curl. And our mustard relish. It's a beautiful, spicy addition to this dish. Picks up the feta really lovely. And some fresh chives. And of course, a nice wedge of lemon. Traditionally, with the saltfish cakes, we would use sometimes a drawn butter, sometimes just a little tartar sauce. We would also use cabbage pickles, which are mustard pickles with cabbage and cucumbers, and as well Mom would make a cucumber pickle with cauliflower and onion. Today I've used in this dish, in this mustard pickle, I've used a selection of sweet bell peppers, cucumbers, onion, and then of course the mustard seed and the pickling spice. So beautiful. Thank you for joining me in Fire in the Belly. Be sure and try those cod cakes at home and impress your friends. See you next time. I interviewed a guy one time for a chef. Oh my Lord, he died. And he had a big booger hanging out of his nose the whole time in his interview, and I was fixated on it. And I couldn't get my eyes off it. Oh God. And he talking away, and I was just fixated on the booger in his nose.
Didn't hear a word. Right?
Didn't hire him either, by the way. It's like if you're not smart enough to check your nose before you came in. Funny.